Today, we share our annual checklist of things the Packers must do to win the division. Some of these things are bets that they must come do, and others require a little bit of luck outside of the team's control. Let's talk about what those things are.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm cash.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sounds Gouda. My name is Jordan Olson, and as always, my co-host and best friend, Rob Ralph, is on the show. As always, thanks to any new and returning listeners. We're excited to be talking Packers football with you all. And we are in the middle of training camp, and we've been talking a lot of fun things that we've seen. But this episode is a repeat of one we did last year. Last year, we had 12 things we needed to win the division. Who knows, next year we might have 10 or 8 or 15. Our list for this year includes 11 things, including a couple of holdovers that are kind of no-does. But before we get into that, just remember we're trying to get to, over 600 subscribers and keep going from there. Anybody who becomes a public subscriber before number 600 will get entered in a raffle to get some Sounds Gouda swag. So please make sure to do that, and we will make sure to send somebody some stuff. So, as soon as we have that, we're going to announce that winner on the show, and they'll know that they got some cool stuff coming their way. So with that, though, just real quick, family nights tonight. What are you feeling, Rob, about family night? And, I can't remember. Have you ever been to family night for the Packers? I've been a couple times, and it's always a pretty good time.
No, it's definitely on my bucket list. I would love to make it there. Absolutely. It's a tradition like none other. So definitely would love to go, maybe when my kids are a little bit older and it's not quite as chaotic. But family night, gives some of those rookies and some back end depth pieces to be able to show up and show out. Showcase a couple of really good rookies, maybe Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, etc. So yeah, I'm excited to watch family night and get all the great news and see who stands out.
I'm sad because I won't get to watch family night unless I do some kind of backdoor hack stream to local Wisconsin channels that I don't have access to here in Michigan. We've never talked about this on air or off air, but, Rob, you've got a young family. I've got some much younger kids, but you and I definitely need to get our kids together at a family night at some point in time in the near future when it's right. It's just an exciting time to be at Lambeau at night, watch some fireworks. The kids love it. It's not really a scrimmage or a preseason type of atmosphere like it used to be. It's more of a practice where you get some exposure to the players and some things like that, but still fun. Nevertheless, I feel like it's the next check mark on the way to football actually being back for the Packers. But with that, let's throw it over to our list. We said we have 11 things this season that the Packers must do to take back and win the division. Rob's going to hit us with the first few. So get us started off, Rob.
Yeah, if you've been listening to us, you won't be surprised about this one, but catch the football. Last year, third in the league with 33 dropped passes. It's pretty crazy. And then also to make matters even worse, on third down, Jordan Love also experienced a high drop rate of 8.2% of his passes being dropped. We all know that you're dropping passes on third down, that'll lead to a lot of drive killers, right? So just to give you some more perspective and stats, Wicks, in 2023, he had 2 drops at a 4.9% clip. 2024, 8 drops, for a 17% clip. So that needs to be absolutely better from Dontayvion Wicks. Jayden Reed, 2023, 3 drops at a 4.5% clip. 2024, 10 drops at a 15.4% clip. The third highest among those with at least 40 targets. That is brutal. Romeo Doubs, the least offender on this list, 2023, 4 drops at a 6.3% clip. And then 2024, only upped 1 to 5 drops at a 9.8% clip. Romeo Doubs is known as having the best hands on this team. So I would say you'll have an immediate impact if you can get Dontayvion Wicks and Jayden Reed to cut that down by at least half, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, have a go-to weapon emerge on offense outside of Josh Jacobs. So some candidates for that, at least for me, Romeo Doubs, obviously starting to emerge as a veteran. Obviously, within this offense, he can catch the football, is known as that security blanket for Jordan Love. Jayden Reed, there was a lot of drop passes from him, 40 targets, right? So if he can continue to catch that football, they do a lot of gadget stuff with Reed too as well. So um, if he can emerge on offense, I think that can take off. And then we've been hearing a lot about it, but Matthew Golden, the stud wide receiver out of Texas from this year's draft that we picked up, he's looking absolutely electric, but that does need to transform over onto the field. And then one other one too, and I think he is emerging, as maybe not quite there yet, but I think he can be elite tight end, and Tucker Kraft. If he can be Travis Kelce, George Kittle-esque, Sam Laporta, even from the Lions, I think that this offense can really take off from there.
I'm going to put my money on that last one. I'm just going to say that Tucker Kraft might end up being a target leader on this team this year, and maybe he won't have the most yards, but I think he's going to become Jordan Love's security blanket, and I'd be there for it. So number 3 on this list, the Packers need to do a better job of converting on third down. So last year, they converted on third down about 39.5% of the time. That roughly put them in the middle of the pack in the NFL. For example, some of the teams that we're benchmarking ourselves against in the NFC, the Lions, this was an absurd rate. I'm a little stumbly over my words as we record this late tonight, but the Lions converted on third down at almost 50%, 47.6% last season. I'd have a hard time imagining they're going to be able to repeat that this year. But some teams that are a little bit more close to reality or closer to where the Packers were, the Commanders completed or converted at 45.6% and the Eagles at 41.7%. So I think if the Packers and the drops, as we've already talked about, certainly took a lot of those conversions away. So that might fix this problem. But we're going to see extended drives. We're going to see more scoring. We're going to see a more fluid offense. We're not going to put the defense back out there after, a 3-and-out. If we can convert a few more times. So if we can get to, 42, 43, 44% in 2025, our offense is going to be safely a top 5 unit moving forward. Item number 4, decide who they want to be on offense. And Rob and I were talking about this. A lot of it lies in the hands of Matt LaFleur and the style of game that he is going to call. Last year, we saw the addition of Josh Jacobs and them turning into more of a run-first team. Rob and I have been well noted on the show that we kind of think they should lean into Jordan Love and be a little bit more of a passing first team and then use that excellent running game to balance that out. But not only deciding their philosophy run first versus pass first, but decide if they're going to be a conservative team and they're going to really lean into that, or if they're going to go for it on fourth down and short yardage situations. I think that there's a big percentage of Packers fans that would love Matt LaFleur to be more aggressive, like Dan Campbell over here in Michigan. I live in Michigan, if you all don't know that. But, there's also a large group that say that, well, it's fine if you're going to be conservative, but let's just stick with that. Let's play the percentages and know what kind of football team that we're going to be. I would lean into them being a little bit more aggressive and being a little bit more pass first. And hopefully that's who Matt LaFleur will decide to be on offense in 2025.
Item number 5, get to the quarterback. So via pressures and sacks. And I think the best players that will end up doing this is Rashawn Gary. He was starting to find his form there towards the end of the year and did a really tremendous job as far as being able to stop the run when it came over to his side. So I'll give Jeff Hapley a lot of credit for that. Lucas Van Ness, this is a big one. Obviously, if you're a true Packers fan, I think DeMarcus Covington should help within this, but I think that this is a big year for Lucas Van Ness, and you will really be able to tell if he's going to ascend and take that next step or not. Brenton Cox Jr. brings an element of some athleticism and some juice too here off the edge. We really love what we've been seeing from him so far with his time with the Packers. And then, some of your role players too, Enigbare, and then even the kid out of Texas, Byron Sorrell too, what packages he comes into and but different type of element that he brings into this to be able to get some pressures and sacks. And then a couple of bonus ones, Nazir Stackhouse and Warren Brinson, getting pressure up the middle obviously creates a lot of havoc for the opposing offense. So I think that is really key too as well. Point number 6, turn over the ball again. No duh, right? McKinney and crew do need to step up and return to form in 2025. Valentine needs to pick up where he left off. He's been intercepting quite a bit of balls here in camp, which is really good. We just need to see some more of that consistency on the field. And then they do have a really awesome goal to be able to get 34 forced fumbles. The only other team to be able to do that, which is pretty cool, is the 2010 Giants. Big goal to achieve, to pop the rock out and be able to get it for your offense. But I love that they have this kind of top line goal to be able to turn the ball over again.
Yeah, win the ball was big last year, and I like that they're going to pick up right where they left off and focus on winning the ball again. Item number 7, a new star needs to emerge on both offense and defense. And yes, this is a little bit similar to number 2, to have a go-to weapon emerge on offense, but really this is talking about increasing the elite player count on this team. I think Rob and I both agree that there's truthfully only 4 players that we would label as elite at this moment. We're hoping that's Jordan Love, but we think that he's capable of that. Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, and Zach Tom, we currently put in the elite category. You look at teams that go to and win Super Bowls, teams like the Eagles. You're talking about having, 6 to 8 Pro Bowlers, elite level players on those rosters. This roster is packed full of young guys who are in their second, third, or fourth year and chock full of potential. And it's finally time for that to come due. So it's really about who wants it. We've talked about our candidates on offense. We've got Tucker Kraft. I'm going to put my money there. There's a lot of hype around Matthew Golden. Come and get it, rookie. But, we need another star to be a playmaker on that side. On defense, really, Edgerrin Cooper seems to be the guy that people are putting their stock in. People are talking about him being a guy who's a top 25 player in this league as soon as, this upcoming season. So I really hope that we're not overhyping him. But somebody like Edgerrin Cooper or Rashawn Gary needs to unlock that star level, become a household name in this league, and create multiple levels of havoc on that defensive side of the ball to kind of go along with McKinney on the back end there. So item number 8, talking about bets and, the Packers putting their money where their mouth is, or at least on Brian Gutekunst and the coaching staff. But the Packers have bet an awful lot on Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, and Javon Bullard, and they better be right. And we talked about this on a previous episode, but, I think the Packers view those 4 as 4 core rotational pieces. We can play Nixon on the outside. We can play Valentine on the outside. We can play Hobbs wherever. We feel great about Bullard playing in the slot, and he's got some versatility to play safety as well. They need those guys to stay healthy, and they need them to play at a high level. Rob and I had some discussion. It would be great to count on somebody like, hey, Kalen King needs to step up. Bo Melton needs to step up. But really, if we're getting to the point where we're saying that backups need to play at a high level, that goes back to why we were all frustrated earlier this offseason, is that we didn't do enough to help this team win football games. So the Packers have to be right in betting on those 4 cornerbacks.
So the next 3 will be our last, and it's kind of a carryover from last year. But number 9, win divisional games. Obviously, we were 1-5 in division games last year, and quite frankly, if it weren't for a fingertip, we should have been 0-6. So that definitely needs to be a lot better. Item number 10, and again, you're all going to say duh, but, stay healthy. We all know what happened in the beginning of the year with Jordan Love. Let's hopefully we can avoid some of that stuff, even though Malik Willis came in and was able to provide some really good backup quarterback for us. So definitely want to stay healthy for this year. And then number 11, I'll get some lucky breaks. Obviously, the Eagles playoff game, it seemed like everything was going not the Packers way on about every facet that you can imagine, with wide receivers, offensive line injuries, etc. So let's get some more lucky breaks. Let's have the football gods come our way a little bit more.
Yeah, and like just to touch on that number 10, stay healthy for a minute. It's like that Jordan Love injury in the first game had ripple effects that lasted the entire season. If he wouldn't have gotten that injury, would they have won one more game, two more games? Would we have had to go on the road and play the Eagles, which ultimately won the Super Bowl in the first game of the playoffs, right? So it's like any one of those things have a ripple effect that can change the entire outcome of the season. You win week 1 against the Lions, set the tone that we are a different team against divisional rivals this year. And that looks a lot different from a confidence building perspective as well. So a couple of things, as you said, Rob, but a couple of very important things, especially early in the season.
All right, so just to recap really quick for you, number 1, catch the football. Number 2, have a go-to weapon emerge on offense outside of Josh Jacobs. Number 3, convert on third down. Number 4, decide who they want to be on offense. Number 5, get to the quarterback. Number 6, turn the ball over again. Number 7, a new star needs to emerge on both offense and defense. Number 8, the Packers are betting quite a bit on Nixon, Hobbs, Valentine, and Bullard, and they better be right. Number 9, win divisional games. Number 10, stay healthy. Number 11, pray to the football gods that we get some lucky breaks this year. So I think that is all that we have for you for today, Packers fans. Thank you so much for coming back and taking a listen to us. We do have new content every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you share with a friend, a family member, whoever that you might know that would love to dive deep into all things Packers. We are on the socials as well. I'm at SoundsGudo 3A's and Jordan is at Olson Jord. But that is all that we have for you. We hope that you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Take care. Go Pack, go.
Been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up.